Hi, how's it going? How are you? Are you good? Are you okay? Are you not okay? As for me, I would say I'm not okay. And it's okay to admit that you're not okay. I think there's something really liberating in being able to admit, yeah, I'm not doing so great. And yet here we are. Here we are. I feel like a lot of us are not doing okay right now. And so, how do we address that? I'm afraid I don't have the answers. If you clicked on this video and you were hoping for answers, I don't have answers. All I can do, or what I can do, is provide a space for us to just sit down here, take a moment to disconnect, and hang out. We're so inundated by content and information and news. It's like as soon as we wake up, we're scrolling or watching something or whatever. It happens as soon as we wake up to the moment we go to bed. And that's for most of us. I'm not saying that's for everyone. And I think it's really important to create routines and systems in your life in which you have periods in which you're not constantly facing the news cycle or the content cycle, because it never sleeps, it never stops. It's 24/7. And it's a lot. And so, in the midst of all that, we really lose focus, we lose awareness, and we become totally lost. We don't know where we're going. And we get to this point where we don't feel okay, and we don't even understand why we don't feel okay. And I don't know why we're so addicted to these content cycles and these news cycles. Maybe there's a void within us that we're trying to fill. I feel like I'm noticing this unnameable void for a lot of people 30 and under, and it could be for anyone at any age, you know? But there is this particular void that just reeks of meaninglessness and pointlessness. And I'll admit, I have really been struggling to find a meaning or a point in anything. And it's gotten in the way of my work. It's gotten in the way of my relationship, although my relationship is good and healthy. I'm extremely thankful for that. But it's like an existential angst or crisis or whatever you want to call it, just like a lack of meaning. And maybe that's a byproduct of our culture, which is increasingly, I don't know, I feel like our culture lacks more meaning than ever before. If that makes sense. Our culture is more meaningless than ever before. I'm supposed to be doing work stuff right now. And here I am making a video. Why am I doing that? It feels pointless. It feels meaningless. I hate to admit that, but it just does. For whatever reason, the only thing in life that felt meaningful right now at this moment was to sit down in front of a camera and just talk. And so, as I said earlier, I don't have any answers for any of these things, but I hope that we can create a shared space and a shared understanding for what we're all feeling, or for what many of us are feeling. I don't want to generalize. Maybe everything I've said in this video thus far has been so totally, utterly unrelatable. That's okay. Maybe all of it has. Maybe just a few things I've said have made sense, but I've just been struggling lately. And my life is so good on paper. I'm so incredibly privileged. I have everything. What more could I want? I won't go into the specific details, but I have it all. And maybe you have this thing too, where you feel like you have it all, and yet you feel so miserable and lost, and maybe you even feel shameful. Like I feel shame, I feel guilt. And before I go deeper and just really paint this picture of misery, I do want to say that I am working to address these things, and I hope you are too. And if you aren't, please consider this a sign to get help. Please consider this a sign to talk to a professional, to explore medication if you aren't already, to explore contemplative practices like meditation or journaling. And I know everyone always talks about these things and says, you got to journal, you got to do daily pages, you got to meditate for X amount of time. And all these productivity gurus are giving you this prescriptive set of things to do. Wake up at 5 a.m., take cold showers. And look, sometimes my biggest achievement is getting out of bed. My biggest achievement is going to the gym. My biggest achievement is logging in my food in a fitness app so I hit a certain level of macros, and so I know I've eaten properly that day. Sometimes I feel agoraphobic. I can't even go outside into public, but maybe I get one thing done that day and I'm like, okay, that's my win. I can hold on to that. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself now. But still, hopefully you can relate to some of those things. I'm here today because I want you to know that you're not alone. If you relate to anything I've said today, I want you to know that you're not alone. You and I and a bunch of other people are going through this together. And it sucks. And it feels so incredibly lonely. But I'm here to let you know that I'm in it too. And you let me know. Are you in it? What are you going through? Tell me about it. I'm not one to shy away from shit. It's going to be okay. I know you don't feel okay. I don't feel okay. But it's going to be okay. My mantra lately is just one day at a time. I've always had an issue or a struggle with goal setting and planning for the future and looking ahead, because sometimes I just can't imagine a future. I can't imagine going forward. 6 months from now, a year from now, 5 years, 10 years, it gives me a lot of anxiety. Feels really scary. Feels really uncertain. And I'm not even talking about burgeoning technologies and how those can sometimes feel a little bit scary. I'm just talking about your own life and just understanding where your life is going and not really understanding where your life is going. And I know that's scary to not know where it's going. And so for me, it's all about bringing it back to the basics. How can I bring things back? How can I pull back? How can I pull back? How should I say this? Because again, I don't want to generalize too much, but I feel like I have subscribed to a culture that really preaches ambition and doing more and doing better and doing it bigger and doing it for everyone to see and chasing accolades and being an automaton of productivity and optimization. I've really fallen for that culture. And when you feel like you're not hitting those things, it's a lot of shame. And so I try to pull it back. I do as best as I can with everything I do. But at the end of the day, if it all seems so insurmountable, I pull it back and I say, you know what? I'm just going to get through today. I'm going to make today count. I'm going to make today work. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to do whatever I need to do as best as I can do it in each moment. And then at the end of the day, I'm going to put my head on a pillow in the bed, fall asleep, and then I wake up, and then I just do it again. And I've found that if you do that enough days in a row, it sounds depressing, I know. But if you do that enough days in a row, you'll get a flicker of motivation. You'll be like, okay, I've been making it through. Maybe I should create a mini goal for the next 2 weeks. Maybe I should create a goal for the next week or for the next couple of days. Maybe my goal is to go to the gym for the next 2 days. But I feel like you can only really get there if you truly pull back and just take it one freaking day at a time. Because sometimes that's all you can do. I hope what I've shared today has resonated with you. And if it hasn't, that's okay. Maybe a couple things did something for you. And if they did, let me know. We're doing this together, people. There's so many of us on this planet. And I think we'd be surprised by how many people are having the same experience of us as us. The same experience that we are experiencing. If you want me to go labels, depression. So incredibly common. For some, it's more crushing than others, but man, it can feel so lonely. But the truth is, it doesn't have to be. You can get help. I'm working on getting help. Maybe I should add that. If I haven't said it already, I've been rambling so much that I don't even know where I'm at. I should add that, yes, I am getting help. I'm exploring medication options again. I started going to therapy again. I've been to therapy on and off my entire life, but I'm back in it. I actually just got back from the doctor today to explore medication options. I'm trying to get better about meditation. I've been exploring loving kindness meditation recently. I recently turned 30, and around that time I started yet another journal. I've been journaling for quite a while now. Again, very on and off. I should add, by the way, a lot of these practices, especially practices that optimization and productivity gurus try to impose on you, a very human way to go about these practices is if they're on and off. Like, you don't have to be so incredibly strict about them. I know that's not a popular thing to preach, but if you don't journal every morning, if you don't meditate every morning, that's okay. If you meditate 3 times a week, that's okay. If you meditate 10 times a month, that's okay. If you only put in 2 entries into your journal this month, that's okay. Being a human is messy. And I feel like a lot of gurus request that we abandon our humanity and become robots and become these harbingers of optimization. I keep bringing up productivity gurus. I would consider myself to be a fairly productive person, but man, I have beef with those guys. And maybe it's because they bring out insecurities in me, but that's another topic for another day. I'm starting to feel that we're at the end of this video. And so if you were to take away anything, it's first and foremost, please, if you are really struggling, just find help. It can just be the smallest thing, like talking to a friend. And if you don't have a friend to talk to a family member. If you don't have a family member to talk to, there are so many options of online therapy. There's so many options of, to be completely fair, I probably should have better researched the options before I got to this part. But let me just tell you that if you seek, you will find. There's so many resources on the internet to help you get through this. Don't be afraid to explore therapy or medication or contemplative practices. Another thing I want you to take away from this video is that it's okay to live one day at a time. I feel like a lot of my friends and family would look at me and consider me to be, I would imagine that some people look at me and think I'm successful or very productive or very on top of my stuff, when in reality, a lot of the time I do live one day at a time. Appearances can be very, very deceiving. And maybe the appearance that you're giving is deceiving others as well. And that's okay. We live in a culture that very much judges based on your appearance. And I understand that you have to project a certain image in order to be accepted by a peer group, by your professional peers, by associates, work associates, etc. So find help. Number 2, one day at a time. And number 3, you're not alone. You're not alone. Thanks for taking the time to be with me here today. I really appreciate it. I hope I was able to create a space in which you could just slow down from the incessant content cycle and just hang out and think about what you're going through. And think, maybe there's a way that I can deal with this in a better, healthier way. Okay. That's it for me. Thank you so much for watching.